Hi, my name is Lucas de Man and I'm from Biobased Creations, and for the Dutch Design Week 2025 we created an amazing exposition about the future of building, which by the way has already started, and we thought let's give you a little tour, right? So we have 4 chapters. Chapter 1 is materials and methods, and we begin with the past, because if you want to know where you're going to, you have to understand where you came from. So we have this beautiful closet, heritage closet. It's an ode to the landscape and an ode to the city, and there's all kinds of things that you can touch and so on, but we don't have time to go into it. But it's amazing. You can shovel things and you can look at things, and the great thing is it also has 10 build-ups of how walls like this can be made out of natural materials. So you can see actually in reality how you make a build-up of a wall that is completely natural, right? So this is already existing. You can scan the codes and see where can I find this. And also the company, for example, that does this, Nico de Bond, they do all kinds of monuments. Already for 2 years they decided we're only going to do bio-based, because it is possible already, right? And then we have another partner of us, which is the Ministry of Heritage, and they talk about how can we actually change our land so that we can keep the water, so that we can make sure that our soil is alive again. How can we learn from the past and rethink what happened then? How can we do it right now again? So you see these beautiful curved walls. So what we have in the exhibition is our own installations, and then the partners tell their story, what is already happening, what is already possible. So for example, the future of concrete, the future of bio-based materials from the Klimaatrein, which is a fund for the future of building. Great, right? We also show how can you do build-ups like this, so that people, for example, architects or builders, can show their clients, you need this plus this plus this plus this, and then you have a good sustainable wall, for example. Right? Then we have partners. One of our big partners is the Rabobank. They are sponsoring 100 million, not to us, unfortunately, but to the whole ecosystem of sustainable building. So things are changing in Holland, right? We also show how to make circular systems. For example, we have 14 different agricultural farmers together with a factory, together with a builder, and then they're going to make 750 social housings that is completely bio-based. So super sustainable, because you make a system, you make a chain together, right? This is very important. How can we do this on a big scale already? So it's happening. It's not waiting, it's happening. This is one of our new installations. It's called Possible Landscapes. What we do is we take a very specific location, and at that location we start with the soil and the water, and then we invite farmers and builders and policymakers and of course inhabitants. We sit them around the table and we say, what is the future of this area if we look at it ecological, social, and of course economical? How can we live here together with nature? And then we envision what they come up with. So this is the ideas of the people of that specific area, what they want. We envision it, and the cool thing is this then tours in that area as a sort of conversation starter about the future of that area. Because who lives there, the people that live there, build it, farm it, have to do it. So what we do here, for example, is another possible landscape installation, completely different landscape in Holland. Also the same concept, put people together, let them envision their future. Beautiful, but we don't have time to go into this, right? What we do have, for example, here is also studies how can we live in the cities, because this is all landscape, great, our second chapter. This is a whole research on how can we have 4 million extra houses if we put it into the city. And then we have in this area all about democracy. Let me show you. So we had materials and methods, we had farming and building, and this is all about people and community. And I think actually the biggest innovation is going to happen here on 2 levels. New kinds of contracts and new kind of coalitions between people who are building, who are giving the assignments for building, policymakers and so on. What you see now is that we have an old system of dealing with money, dealing with profits. I'm just building and building. I don't care. I just want my profits. I don't care what happens with them. That's over. So we need new coalitions, new contracting, new profit sharing. That is one thing. The second thing is how to involve citizens. And what you see here, nature, everybody's at the table. How do you really involve people? This whole area is about involving people and having artists and designers making sure that people feel it tangible, right? We don't have time to show you everything. If you want to see the big video, we have a video in Dutch with English subtitles. You can see all the details, but then you have a feeling of how this is happening. We're going to the last chapter, which is about infrastructure and city. We call it building as a landscape, because cities are landscapes, right? They are high, they are low, they have water, they have soil, they have everything that every landscape has. So we are doing research together with a lot of different partners. That's the great thing, coalitions, making coalitions about the future of buildings, the future of cities, how they can become an ecosystem for water. Did you know that in Holland, when they flush the toilet, it's still been done with drink water, so like drinkable water, instead of rainwater or wastewater. So it's amazing. So they have to change the way they waste valuable drink water, but also even further, how do you, for example, filter the water? You can do it on an ecological basis. So this is happening here. And then last but not least, we are investigating how can we make our rivers, how can we make our harbors, how can we make our canals ecosystems, so that the fish come back, so that the animals come back, so that water gives back oxygen. Because I don't know if you knew, I didn't know, half of the oxygen in the world comes from the water, if the water is livable. And in Holland, for example, we have terrible quality of water. So we have to rethink that so that our cities can breathe, that the heat goes down and the animals and water alive and plants and people live together. It's possible. It's not far out thinking, it's already happening. The technique is there, the innovation is there, and now it's all about us trying to find how can we do this together. I hope you like this. If you want to see the long video, go to the long video. And for now, see you.